I always know when God is talking to me and when I'm talking to me. And when God is talking to me, it's always something that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Or I don't know how to do that. So it was probably 2008 or 2009 that I'm praying. And at this time in my life, he was very active. I mean, I would hear him in my head a lot and tried to sort through again what was me and what was him. And he said to me, clay pots. And that's all I would hear in my prayer. I'd be like, okay, I don't know what that means. I'm dealing with some issues over here, Lord. Can you pay attention? And all he would say is clay pots. And he said it for months, and I didn't know what that meant. And I would be like, okay, help me out. You designed me. You know I'm not smart enough to figure that out on my own. And I was on the air one day, and I was talking about the radicals that hate and wish to erase America. I said, if we lose to these people, they despise the founding ideas and ideals so much, they'll destroy all of our history, and we have to preserve them, our sacred American scriptures. And when I said that, I knew exactly what he meant.
I think they've wrecked the story of history. Because if you can wreck history, you don't know who you were. You don't know where you came from. You don't know anything.
The thing that I've always seen is that you can't remake your history until you first stop teaching history. What you can do is attack it, then you stop teaching it, then you come back with a whole different story.
You know, Scripture says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. One of the things we believe is that God will direct us. Glenn believes that, I believe that, and he got us together. He worked us together. And the things that I've been doing, the things that Glenn had been doing, when we put them together, they were so much stronger. And so it's like God had prepared each of us, him with such a large audience and mouthpiece, us with such a love for history and a passion for it. And when you combine those two things together, and Glenn has always loved history, he's always been in history, but we had artifacts. And so when we got that together, it was God ordained, God ordered, and the result of that has been very good for the nation. And that's good. Anytime you rediscover your history, it puts you back on track for where you need to be going.
One of the reasons the American Journey Experience began collecting so much from American history is because we recognized that the way the narrative was being told today, the way kids were learning in school today, were things that were factually incorrect about American history, things they're learning in elementary school and middle school and high school, even in universities. And so we wanted to be able to have a collection where people would come and see history for themselves, whether it be good, bad, or ugly.
To see them light up when they realize the truth, and when you understand it in context, and you know the original intent of our founding fathers, and the way that they set up our Constitution and our government. It was all based on biblical principles, and that is something that has been amazing to see to light up the next generation.
There is such a difference between telling a story and then having something that verifies.
It's not imagination anymore.
Right.
Now you've got something tangible in front of you.
Right.
And it shifts the whole argument. It's not what are your credentials. It's, oh my gosh, that's the real one. Shifts everything.
We've mobilized our collection across the entire country from California to DC, whether it's going to other partner museums, going to public schools, universities, churches. Just recently in September, we went to Chino Hills where we brought this collection alive to over 13,000 attendees. It was a truly empowering moment for those attendees because they realized that hearing this history that they had never heard before, they could go out to culture, fight the culture war, and win. Winston Churchill talked about how the farther backward you are able to look, the farther forward you are likely to see. And what we've noticed traveling to campuses across the country and talking to Americans nationwide is the fact that it's not that people hate America, it's that they don't know America. But the truth of the matter is that there's no way we're going to be able to bring this collection to everyone just through a series of lectures, which is why we're beginning the process to digitize a lot of these artifacts and archive all of these stories that we tell throughout our programs so that people can hear the truth en masse on a digital archive that they can access at any time so that they don't have to wait for any of our events.
We're being fed a lot of lies. I really want to find truth, and I want to expose students to that. Once they get their hands on like artifacts and primary sources, they can see it for themselves.
There's several stories that were told here that I thought I knew. I went to school for this and I should know this, but you get a deeper understanding of the background and the context.
I literally got to hold Annie Oakley's gun. I got to hold a piece of Abraham Lincoln's coat that was stained with his blood.
If you go to another museum, they could be telling you truths, but they could like sneak another lie in there. That's why I like this museum, because you know that this is the truth.
Go hold history in your hand. Don't watch somebody else do it. Go do it yourself. It'll change everything.
When we show you an artifact, we want to activate you to go out and do something great. We want people to be able to leave here and have a greater direction and a greater path forward in your community, in your city, in your state. We need our nation to understand there is still good in our country.
The American Journey experience isn't a place, it's a belief and a movement. It's a belief that America's best days are still ahead of us. It's a belief that God's blessing of liberty can return and proliferate in this country. And it is a pledge and an understanding that, as the Declaration says, my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor are worthy in preserving this country.
When they were coming for the scrolls of all of the Old Testament and all of the writings from prophets of the Old, somebody took clay pots and filled them with all the scrolls. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls that we now know, and put them into the back of a cave. Forgot about them, they're lost to history until a little boy in the 1940s is out in the desert. He's a shepherd, and he picks up a rock and he chucks it into the back of this cave, and he expects to hear it hit the back wall of the cave. Instead, he hears something shatter. And that's when we found the Dead Sea Scrolls. My first interpretation was, get as much of our sacred American scripture, our story, and preserve it against physical damage and loss. Now I realize it's not just protecting the original. The clay pot, I believe, is in here. Those documents, those facts, those artifacts have to be planted deep inside of our hearts. And that's why I'm so excited about what AJE is doing right now, being able to see these, research with these, touch these artifacts. That is a game changer.